Hello, everybody. This is the Boutique Closet Design Tips with Wendy Scott and Denise Butchko on behalf of the ACSP, the Association of Closet and Storage Professionals. Wendy and I, hey, Wendy, say hey.
Hey, good afternoon.
And Shaun is behind the scenes, a little bit like the Wizard of Oz. Shaun, are you there?
I'm here. I
Okay,
am.
excellent. So you guys will hear welcome. You'll hear mostly Wendy and I. We're going to go through some information and give you our perspectives about different closet design elements. Feel free to type in your questions anytime. We'll come back and answer them when we finish the part that we've planned to present. So let's just get rolling. If I can make the slide move, that'd be great. So our goal today really is to give you a few good takeaways, to really have some fun and get you inspired about amazing things that you can do with people's closets and how you can help them, get those dream closets. So Wendy, you're on.
Self-explanatory. I've been doing closets for over 11 years. I took second place in one of the top shelf project competitions, and I've been featured in a couple of different magazines.
And you are an awesome, awesome designer. I have admired your work for years. So,
Thanks, Denise.
yeah, no, really, I really have. You do great work. I'm out of the Chicago market predominantly, and in addition to still doing some closet projects, I have training for people in closet design and a couple of books. So you can check those out if you want, but that's my background is I've worked with Hayfla and Sugatsuni and Doug Mockett and KCD software, which is the software that I use. Wendy, that's the software you use too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, so we're a little biased, but that's okay. You can do whatever you want. So I've worked with these people mostly in a marketing capacity on different, ways. So there's the different books that I've written, and I do work with the Woodworking Network also. But let's start and have some fun. So, who doesn't love a good before and after? I think they've worked for Glamour magazine for years. Why would they not work for us? And this is actually a system on the left. This is a project we tore out the existing closet and put in something much prettier. And so I just, worked through a lot of different construction aspects in this room. We actually tore out a wall and had to move whatever you call the thing to get into the ladder for the attic. But she really wanted a more elegant look. And we actually even did lighting around for the jewelry drawers. And that looks so cool. It's a really good female girl, like it's an awesome thing to do for people. They love it. And then picking a section that blings out one area. So glass shelves with lighting around them that, can feature some of the beautiful shoes or purses that women tend to shop for and want to show off, much like men show off cars. So what I want to say about designing higher end closets is that it really changes your role. And I think you want to have an awareness of that. And this is just my experience, that when there's really a custom project, you step into much more of a project manager role, because it's not just a closet system. So whether you are the manufacturer and the installer and the designer and the salesperson, or you're working with someone, I think just having that awareness and seeing about how you're going to sell the project and manage it so that your time and your expertise are covered. When you get into these projects, I think that's a big difference in how they're handled, because it's not just hanging in shelves. So today we are going to talk about the key ingredients for a boutique look. Lighting. Wendy, give me your thoughts on lighting.
We have been slow to get into the lighting sales process of closets, but what we do use is we'll use a lot of the battery operated ones, the ones that plug into a USB port for charging purposes.
Yep.
We have worked with electricians and built out a soffit overhead that they could put the LED lights into. Definitely make sure that if we're using glass doors with a light in there, that we're using glass shelves under so the light will shine all the way through.
Yeah.
Denise?
No, I love lighting, and I keep going through sessions to learn about it, and then I don't know if it just doesn't stick in my mind, maybe because I don't do it every day. So I rely heavily on my manufacturer to help me with that process. Like in this closet in particular, we actually, because it was being renovated, we had the electrician, we told him exactly where we wanted outlets, so like the drawers, sometimes the drawer on the bottom will be more shallow so that you can fit not the transponder. I'm all on the iPad suddenly, but the devices for the lights, or how we're, either using LED, the rope tape to wrap around or to go down the sides. I think lighting amps up the look quickly. I mean, it just adds so much to the effect of the design. And Hafele, I think both Hafele and Revashelf will help you with figuring out what you need once you've actually designed the closet. So you can call them and count on them for some technical assistance if you need it. Do you ever call on them, Wendy, or?
I've quoted a few times, and I've generally called Richie
Oh,
or
DeMarco?
Hafele,
Uh-huh.
and they will put it, you give them the layout and they'll tell you exactly what you need, where all the connections are and all that. We just haven't gone that far as to pull a trigger yet.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then it adds, it adds up quickly in terms of dollars, but then it also, adds to your sales revenue. And I think it is a key. Like I really kind of wish and I will tell you this also. I don't advise my clients, like if they're doing a chandelier or they have some other lighting going on, I don't advise them on that, because I don't want the liability of it. If they thought it was going to be bluer and it's yellower, or it's not quite bright enough. And so that's just something that I don't get too entangled in, because I'm not selling those lighting fixtures. I'm not a professional lighting designer. And so I kind of defer to their interior designer or let them just pick it out. Do you have any thoughts on that aspect, Wendy?
Well, in our area also, it's a no-no to have the chandelier in the closet. So typically they are putting, I'm drawing a blank on the name, they're putting the plate, and then after, if it's been a big renovation, then afterwards, that's when after they've received all their permits and everything, and their A-OKs, that's when they'll put in the chandelier.
So construction-wise, you, in your area of the country, you're not supposed to put a chandelier in a closet.
Correct. It's an open light kind of weird thing.
Oh my
A
goodness.
lot are doing it though.
It's sort of like you can't sell alcohol in Indiana on Sunday, but okay. Tell us about a little bit about the lighting in these two projects. Is this a case where they did the chandelier after the fact?
Well, the one on the left was, I believe that one fell under the requirements so that it was okay and allowed. And the one on the right, what we did is we built out the soffits, and the electrician came in and put the pucks inside. So we worked with an electrician on that one.
Yeah, I always like that option, because the electricians really know, obviously, what they're doing. They're electricians. Hardware, to me, this is the bling. This is I'm a little obsessed with hardware, so I really, I want them to pick something awesome, and I try to steer them in that direction. You, Wendy?
Well, we like to keep it simple.
Okay.
So if they request it, absolutely, we'll get them anything. But typically, I'm showing them some basics, because if we stood there and tried to pick out hardware, we'd be there for days, because there are thousands and thousands.
Yes, and that's a great point. I don't pick out the hardware with them. I tell them that if they want to get their own hardware, and sometimes I'll suggest different websites, and then they can order it, and I tell them that can be a savings on their part, because I'm not going to make that much on on hardware, just on the handles. So they can order it, and as long as they have it there, and I noted on the drawing that they have it there during installation, or they can ship it right to us, then we will put on that hardware. So I try to get them early in the design process, so that if it's an expensive closet, they don't then cheap out on the hardware at the end, like they've already committed to some nice hardware. So yeah, I don't, because you could be looking at hardware for days.
Right.
And I also, there's a Hayfella showroom near the Merchandise Mart in Chicago, and so I will often use that as a meeting place, and then they can pick the hardware right there from whatever they want. So websites that I use for hardware, I mean, Hayfella, they can't, can the consumer look at hardware on Hayfella? I don't think so, unless they
I
create
think
an
they can.
account.
They just can't look at pricing.
And I have I like contemporary design, and Doug Mockett, Mockett, they're out of California. They have some very cool hardware. Keeler, Keeler hardware, they actually are out of Michigan, but they do a really nice job with some high-end hardware. And if you're looking for more budget friendly, they also own Hickory hardware, Hickory, Hickory. So those are, do you have any favorite sites or places you like, Wendy?
Um, Generally, if I want something, I call Richie. But
I
I will
love
tell
it.
you that I had top knobs. I had someone come in the other day and was kind of, it was, she wouldn't just sell it to me. She had to take photos of the showroom, and I had to be approved to make sure we were worthy of having their hardware.
Oh my,
I
wow.
was quite shocked by that, but
It's sort of
I
like
guess that's,
a salon that only sells Aveda. You know, you have to be approved for that product as well.
I guess you have to be a step above.
Yeah, so you are elevated in sophistication and quality, Wendy.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Mirrors, absolutely great. Bling it out. Time tested idea that you take 3 sections. I like doing the 3 sections with shelving behind them that's no more than 16 inches deep. And then you hinge the doors, sorry, so that it's a 3-way mirror. You get storage behind it, and voila, you have this, beautiful space. Your thoughts, Wendy?
My tip that I want to make sure when you're doing your mirrors, is to talk to the door person and talk to your mirror person, because what we've found is an MDF door is not as strong as the wood door, and you need a different thickness of mirror. It will eventually cause
Mhm.
the circus effect, where you're looking like you're in a fun house.
Oh,
And
ooh.
we have had to replace a mirror before
Oh.
because the woman called and said her rear end now looks big.
Well, did you
So
tell her to stop going to McDonald's or?
yeah, pretty much, but we went and we had to redo the entire door. That's a fun, costly mistake, and get a thicker door because we had used a painted MDF instead of a wood for that particular piece.
Good to know. Yeah, isn't it funny how we really, once we have to write a check for something, we tend not to repeat that mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are going to talk about a combo of fluted fillers, crown buildup, base buildup, and using trim. So Wendy, these are your projects here. Give us share your brilliant insights, please.
Okay, crown in our world is expensive, and the bigger the crown, the more expensive it is. But you can make it look more built up. The one on the left and actually the one on the right, what I did was I made a fascia,
Here?
and then I put the crown attached to it, and then to hide the seam, I put a piece of flat scribe molding. And this does 2 things. It, not only does it make it look more expensive and more high-end,
Mm-hmm.
but because, as we know, no ceiling is straight, no wall is straight, you can float that crown molding on that fascia to hide the gaps at the ceiling.
Yeah.
So that covers, quite a few things. Adding fluted filler, you'll see another fluted filler later on where I've made it into something more fun. The one in the center where it's cut on an angle, it was just a flat panel, and we had to cut our pieces to work with the angled ceiling, and then we bought trim, and they just cut it and basically shadow boxed the side of the melamine.
Looks great.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're up, Denise.
What do I say about trim and crown? What do I say? I'm with you on floating it. I always do that. I leave a little gap. I call it a shadow line. I learned that
Mm-hmm.
from a mill worker. And so that gets us out of, trying to caulk or do something all the way to the ceiling, because yeah, they're never even or straight. Um, I find I really like a base molding of some sort on the system. I think that really also amps up the look.
If you go to
And
the next frame, you'll see a base molding
okay,
built up.
cool. Groovy right here.
Yep.
Yeah, and that looks terrific. I love that. This can hide any, if you're doing an installation on wood floors, I mean, on carpeting, you can hide a lot of unevenness in the floor. But if it's a hardwood, this to me is a great solution for, so that the client's not going, oh, I see a little bit of the floor under there. And what's
And
going,
making the base molding instead of a recessed toe kick also gives it more of a high-end look. And I apologize, Denise, I'm going to interrupt you again. On the left is where I took a fluted filler and created a pull-out, similar to what you find in a kitchen. We just added a bunch of hardware to pull it out, and the rods we're actually using to hang those scarves are actually curtain rods from Home Depot.
no, round?
Round curtain rods that we drilled through, and then we hit it with the fluted filler.
And so the scarves didn't slide off?
No, they didn't. They were narrow. They were small enough. We didn't have any problem.
Cool. I love that. And I love that this looks like you actually ordered a piece with a profile as the base here, so that it's not just a,
Yeah, we match our profiles to our drawer and door fronts.
yeah, that's a really nice touch. That looks,
And then the fluted filler has the touch. So when you push it, then it opens because it's against the wall. You couldn't put a groove there.
yep. Wow, that's awesome. I love it.
I believe that was through Hayfella.
Cool. Hayfella and Revachel for sending Wendy and I big fat checks after this webinar. Another thing, taking a system to the ceiling adds to the look. It also adds, manufacturing and installation issues and such, but I feel like it really finishes it off. A closet system, is easy to design, sell, install if you're just going 84 inches and you've got a 96-inch ceiling and you sell them on using that shelf space. And that's all logical, and that all still works beautifully for the client who wants an organized closet system. But for the client who wants something more, taking something to the ceiling really finishes it off and adds drama. This is actually a 17-foot ceiling. The closet was shaped like the letter Z. And I could probably write a whole chapter of the book on mistakes and lessons I learned from that one. Wendy, your thoughts on this?
Love floor to ceiling, especially when the husband is a little taller than normal. You're able to hide the different heights a lot better, and it definitely gives it more of a high-end look.
Yeah. Yeah. Diana has a question. What slide do you use for the scarf rollout? Do you happen to remember that?
I do not, but Diana, if you want to give Denise your email, I can definitely research that slide and get it back to you. It was definitely from Hayfella. We had to go with a specific weight that would be allowed. But again, if you send your email to Denise, I will get that answer to you.
Cool. Backing. So this is our fun topic. I love what backing does to the look of a closet. I think it makes it look more like millwork. I think it finishes it off, even though you're filling it with clothes. I'm all about it. I love it. And Wendy?
Wendy hates it because
See?
it makes your closet dark. However, I do have I have been doing some mirror backing, which definitely is beautiful. I've had a couple clients where we've worked together, and we've done some wallpaper backing, and I believe they're in the next slides.
Okay.
Wallpaper backing, which is fabulous. And Denise, I'm going to throw you, actually, so there's wallpaper, painting it in a different color to make it pop more. The one on the left is the mirror. Yeah. And Denise, your curveball of the day is I just got information from Interlam. It's Interlam. It's this beautiful 6mm. I have no idea what the material even is, but it's got waves in it, and you can use it for backing, and it's very unique pieces. Definitely worth looking into.
Okay.
I know they have a distributor in New York, and they're trying to broaden their horizons and get into more companies. Some of the material, it comes edge banded, so you could use it for different things. Some of it, just the color is all the way through, so it's purely for a back only, but definitely worth looking into for some unique projects.
Thanks. I will. That's cool. So yeah, don't be I think the lesson is you can add a lot to the look of a closet by backing it, and whether that's that the client decides to paint it, Tiffany blue or gray, as in this case with Wendy's, or do some wallpaper, that all gets done before you go and install. It's a great way for them to personalize something, feel like I think that people want to be part of the experience today. And so, in fact, this woman that I was talking about earlier with the triangle shaped pantry and the 2 windows in the closet, I have designs, but I'm absolutely going to work with her online in a design consultation to let her feel like she's part of this experience, because that's really what she's looking for. And so, like, not too much, but I want her to feel like she is involved in it, and however she wants to personalize it, I'm good with that. So that was slightly off topic, but I also love varying the depths. Now, not just in a random nonsense kind of way, but in this case with this wall unit, which was all storage, they gave me a picture out of Architectural Digest from a particular architect named Campion Platt, and they wanted a knockoff of that. And it was going in as a built-in, but it was still all clothing and their hamper and shoes, as you can see from the open drawers. And so I think that can really enhance the look, even if you're just pulling out the drawers to make those deeper. I think it amps up the effect, the design. Wendy?
Favorite tip of the day: when you are staggering the height and using crown molding, stagger the depth. And your depth must be staggered at least 3 inches, or whatever the profile of your crown molding is. The other thing is, for those of you who were at the show and we did this presentation, someone was talking about going to specific heights, like 12, 15 feet high, where we didn't have partitions that tall, so they staggered the depth. They did it in 2 sections, and the top section was staggered at a different depth to make it look on purpose, and it just was beautiful.
Yeah, and that's really the idea, is you can do, you're looking at for it to be on purpose, but also incorporating how you can design it and sell it and pull it together. So I think that adds a lot. And I think this is, we were talking about pretty jewelry accessories, or these are all your projects?
They're all my projects. These were making custom pieces for your client. The jewelry, I have not done 2 jewelry cabinets the same yet. They've all had some type of alteration. The one on the left was actually an angled ceiling, so there's nothing behind that but the ceiling just going on an angle. And in hindsight, even that we could have done differently, where we could have had like secret storage behind the bottom half of it. The one on the right, they wanted a jewelry cabinet, but we didn't have space, and it literally is, I want to say, 8 inches deep.
Yeah.
And then it has the little Rev-A-Shelf jewelry trays, which are expensive, but are actually very, very, very nice quality. And then the center one, the jewelry accents that I've been using, the trees, I had given the name the Jewelry Tray and Pad Company. And not only do they have what those are showing are the imports, which are less expensive but equally as beautiful, and they also will do custom pieces. And I had a custom piece. I just told them I wanted 55 squares, all velvet lined, and we made a special tie insert, or not a tie insert, the cufflink insert. I don't have cufflinks, and this was beautiful. It was, I just wanted it.
Yeah.
And very reasonable. They're right out of New Jersey, and they ship everywhere. And they make tons of custom pieces. They do leather, the velvet. It's not that crappy flocked stuff.
Yeah. Cool. And that's the Jewelry Pad and Tray Company?
The Jewelry Tray and Pad Company.
Tray and Pad.
Yes.
Cool. That's an awesome tip. Thank you.
And then the velvet, I'm sorry, the velvet was all adhesive velvet that we stick to the back of the doors, and we just cut to fit. And then what you're looking at now, we did hooks, the center hooks. Actually, I already went back to you. The center hooks were for hanging purses. I believe that's a Ritchie product. The tie cabinet, again, it's a 9-inch cabinet, and we staggered oval rods and hung and custom drilled it so that we could, and then staggered all his ties. The ladder on the right-hand side, I have been using Alico ladder out of California, even though I'm on the East Coast, because they ship it already assembled, already painted or stained, and if you call them and give them your layout, they will work with you and give them your budget. They will tell you, it's a matter of switching the metal or switching the wood species can save you hundreds of dollars to get the quote of that ladder down. And
Awesome.
they will also tell you, there's two types. There's a hook kind, and then the one that I have right there, the roller one, and they'll tell you where to put your supports, where to end the end of it, if you want to put it something decorative at the end. But Alico ladder out of California.
ALLACO?
ALACO, I
A-
believe. I can double check.
Okay. Alico.
ALACO.
Cool. And this looks great. Like all that color and everything. I love it. And you said this is a Rishi product, as in Rishi DeMarco, who is now Richie Lou
Yeah,
DeMarco. Yeah.
Richie
Okay.
Lou DeMarco.
Richie Lou
That's
DeMarco.
correct.
Yes.
Richie Lou DeMarco.
Yes. Oh, shoes.
Shoes.
Wendy, really?
Angled shoes. I'm not doing them as often just because they don't store as many,
Hmm.
but they are sure pretty. The one on the right-hand side was glass doors, therefore we used the October Company acrylic shoe stops.
Mm-hmm.
The far left was our little football players. It's all filled with sneakers. We separated it with the fluted fillers. You're getting more now if you put that shoe on there heel toe. It looks
Yeah.
so much more decorative,
Yeah.
and you can get a lot more flexibility and storage-wise doing that with the shoes.
Agree. And I have the same perspective on the angled shoes. They do look really good. And so sometimes in a large closet, I might do like one featured section of angled shoes. That way they can either they can show off what they want, or they can put the shoes that they wear the most in that area. But to really maximize the storage, it's the adjustable shelf. And in a market like Chicago, where people buy and sell and don't live in places for a really long time, selling, becomes so if a female owns a condo and has tons of angled shelves and then she sells it to a single bachelor, I mean, what is he going to do with all those angled shelves unless he quickly finds himself a live-in girlfriend? And that's a whole different topic. So another couple things that we think actually add a lot to the look are either not having any visible holes drilled, or selective drilling, or peg. So Wendy, because these are also your projects.
The selective drilling with, one hole above, one hole below, so you have a tiny bit of flexibility. No drilling, and in a lot of the machines, we were literally making templates and hand drilling all this. Now we have the new machine which will do it for us. The pegs, there's quite a bit of resistance out of those, but the project on the left decided after we installed that she didn't want holes. Oops, forgot to tell you. So we ordered those pegs. Again, it's another Ritchie product, and we just pushed. You got to use a thimble because you will not feel the ends of your fingers for about 2 weeks, and you just push those little pegs into the holes.
So that it camouflages it, but they're round plastic flat pegs, right?
Right, and they'll come out. And it just softens the look a little bit. It's not ideal as having no drill or soft drill, but if it's an after the fact, it's better than seeing the holes.
Yep, I agree. And the darker the color, the more you see the holes.
Right.
Because you've got the board on, underneath. But yeah, a selective drill or not drilling at all, and there's an upcharge for that because it takes more. Well, you can program it, but yeah, I think it looks more like millwork, and most people, once they put their stuff in, we sell on the aspect of adjustability, but I don't know a lot of people who do that unless you're buying and selling the condo kind of thing. So tell us about this beautiful work of art, Wendy.
This is our two-toned closet where everything for him was black and everything for her was white. Going two-tone, whether it's, all the panels are one color and all the shelves are another color, or mixing and matching. It just definitely gives a different a different color. This is also a hybrid closet where everything was done in melamine, with the exception of all the drawers and doors were MDF painted, and then all the crown and fluted fillers were all wood painted. So it gives it that richer look without having the feel of plastic. So when you put $100,000 into a closet,
Yeah,
you kind of want a little more custom feel to it, custom look.
for sure.
So we went with the hybrid. It's really nobody. Very rarely have we come across wood closets these days.
And you don't run into any issues with the different sheens, the painted versus the melamine or the texture or anything like that?
No. Really, we do paint matching, so it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal. We just stick with the muted colors.
Yep.
And it's typically if it's black or if it's white. We're not going to try to do a wood painted summer flame because you're not going to mimic that.
Right.
The wood grain. So it's
use
typically
that
white.
color. Yeah, gotcha.
Or antique white.
Yeah, something that's not so difficult.
Right.
And what about this one?
This, so interesting enough, this is the one that took second place to Angel, who's killed me with her. Oh, no, not Angel. Angel had the #1 one. It was our buddy out of Virginia. She, with her two-story closet.
Oh, Deborah Cantrell.
Deborah, yes. So this was the attic dressing room. So they had 2 walk-in closets and a cedar and wanted a dressing room, so they finished out the attic. This was my 3rd attic that year where we put a dressing room.
It looks terrific.
Thank you.
Here's some more of it. Yeah, she has a few shoes.
A little bit, yep. And, you know, we did the angle because we had the room to spare, so we just blinged it out and had glass everywhere.
Yeah, cool. Love it. And there's some more. And this is the same closet?
This is all, yep, this is all the attic, the same attic.
It's amazing. That is a lot of space.
Yep, and I worked with the her contractor to get I needed a little more height here, and we had some custom pieces where you'd make something 14-inch deep for me. I'm like, just push me back 1 more inch, and just worked with him.
Yeah. Awesome. So this is your drawing for that, the plan view?
Right, that's the floor plan from KCD.
So it gives you an idea of, it's a very long, did you used one wall here with storage and then this they could walk through, right?
No, there's storage on both sides.
On both sides, okay.
Yep.
And then storage here, a couple of chairs.
And a sitting room. Yep, we have a TV unit in the little alcove.
Right here. Cool.
Because every dressing room needs a TV section.
It does, I agree. And a wine bar.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, really. So the flow, this is actually the plan view of that project I showed you at the beginning. And what I want to tell you is that, so this is the floor space and this was the original walls. And the wife is a little messier than what the husband would prefer that she would be. So she wanted this to be absolutely divided. So this was going to be his side and this was going to be her side. This was going to the ceiling with hanging and backing. And then there was going to be a bench here and mirror. And then once they actually stood in the space, they decided no, they didn't want that. They didn't like it having to be divided. So this was the wall that we knocked out that had other stuff on it. And I sure hope I have the other plan view because that'll be a little annoying if I don't. This is still that closet in the before scenario. Then this is what we ended up with. Okay, so where that peninsula was coming out, instead we just made the island. We did the jewelry drawers underneath the window because it was just a nice feature. Long hang back here in the area that you don't use as much. All of this is his, and then all of this is hers. And we intentionally left more space here so that she could add a chair that she could move around more. And this closet has no door, which I'm like, I always try to get people to take off the doors because they just get in the way. And so we intentionally designed it so that the sight line, beautiful island drawers, this is where those glass lit shelves are, so that what you see is really pretty. And if there's a little messy over here eventually or here eventually, you know, we don't see it so much. So that's actually how we ended up coming to the design for that space. And so we have, now really is your time to ask questions. We can go back to any of the slides and answer them further. I'm going to scroll through and look at some of these questions. Or Shaun, I don't know if you can either way. And we invite you, Wendy and I both, like, connect with us. We love, checking out what you're doing and vice versa. And yeah, so I'm going to take a minute here and see. Diana had asked about those, the rods for the, okay. Oh, earlier, Mike Carson asked, what's the best way to, let me see if he used the word install, a backing. So do you have an opinion or thoughts on that? Because you hate backing, so.
We've done it two ways. One where we just take the 1/4 inch 4x8s and just tack them right to the wall, watching where our seams are based on our cabinetry, and then attach our panels to that. And then we've also done it where it just fits in between the panels.
Yep.
And then if it's going on the wall, then your par is about on the end is about 3/4 of an inch or a 1/4 inch longer to hide that piece.
Say that part again.
That's if you're attaching 4x8s 1/4 inch to the wall and then attaching your panels, your end panels end up being a 1/4 inch deeper to hide.
Yeah. To cover those ends so that when you look at it from the side, it's covered. Yep. That's a really good point. And we pretty much route ours in versus attaching them to the wall. So what mirror thickness do you use?
Typically 1/8 or a 1/4 inch, depends on where it's being applied.
Yeah, same here. Which thickness got you the circus butt, client?
I want to say it was 1/8 that got us into trouble on the MDF.
Okay. So that was too thin.
Yeah, that was too thin on that large of a door. Okay. And that thick, that type of species.
Other questions? I'm trying not to move this box. That was question was from Ted. Do you guys have more questions? Because we won't make anything up, but we're happy to answer them for you about any elements of closet design. Now is your chance. Type them in now. Shaun, are you still there?
I am. I actually have a few questions as well.
Okay.
I can't type them in though, so I'll have to ask them.
Okay.
I guess one question is, what do you guys typically charge to not drill and hold the panels? I'm usually at $50 per panel, and kind of as a starting point, see where that gets me.
I don't have an answer for that, because honestly, if we do it, my manufacturer just rolls it into the price, and I don't have him break those charges out. Wendy, do you have a thought on that?
Anytime we have to cut something special, like an angled ceiling, I'm probably charging $20 each time I have to cut that panel on an angle.
So 50 is good. And if anybody in the audience has a thought that they want to share on that, please do. And
Shaun, another question I have.
Yeah.
Oh, another comment, I guess, is I do mirror backing as well, and my glass guy, I think he does like 5 mil mirror, which is really big and heavy, but he also does a safety backing on it. So should it ever smash, kind of like a windshield, it all stays together.
Yeah.
It doesn't fall apart, which is, it's nominal. I think it's like $10 per, like a full-length door, and it's customers seem to think it's nice, and it's actually white. So if I do white doors, you don't see the black as a mirror as much. It's kind of like a
yeah.
So it makes it look a little cooler.
And you're using a frame door, not a shaker panel, and inserting it inside?
The guys who do the doors, it's just a lid that the mirror goes in, and then I either get siliconed in, or if it comes from pre-made, a little line that kind of gets jammed in and goes around. So one of the bad things about it, though, is if it's a mirror, you can see the raw MDF. If you look at the right angle of the mirror, the raw MDF at the back of the door reflects, which is kind of annoying, but no one's ever called me on it.
Cool.
Okay.
I have a question from Tom. Do you use leg levelers when working with crown or to the ceiling?
We would rather use a leveler than shims because we think shims are ugly.
Yeah, same here. Kind of gives you the adjustability.
And then hide it with a base molding.
Yeah, exactly. Carol wants to know, do you source your glass shells from a local glass shop or do you have a website for custom? My manufacturer uses a local glass mirror place. Wendy, do you do the same thing?
We have a local guy that we get it really have a great price on.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most efficient way to do it. Now wait, this is from Amanda. From our supplier, doors are so expensive. I hope I said that right. How do I sell doors that seem like a purely aesthetic but beautiful add-on? Do you want me to
Go ahead, Denise.
um,
You're good at upselling.
the doors are, you talk about them in the beginning, and I talk about them with the information about the pricing. So in some ways, this gets into the, really paying attention when you're walking into the home, when you're talking to the client on the phone, when you're talking to them in person. What kind of quality of things do they have around? What sort of quality are they looking for in this closet? Because I think our habit, our propensity, our training is that everybody wants the best deal. And that's not always the case. So turning that little switch off in your brain and being open to, maybe this person wants something very beautiful, so I'm going to be open to that. But I'm also going to share that if there's, how much do they want to invest in this project? Because if that could double the price of the closet. And so it becomes them defining if that's a priority or not, because it also affects the way that you design the space, because now you have to be aware of what's opening in what direction. Is there accessibility? Are we blocking something across from it? Are the knobs going to hit each other when you open it? So there's a whole bunch that goes into that. It's not just as simple as slapping on a bunch of doors and doubling the price of the closet. So that is my answer to that. Your thoughts, Wendy?
I to a fault, when someone is telling me they want 20 doors and 15 drawers, I'm like, do you even need them? What is your budget? And if no one has a budget ever. So what is your comfort zone? What is your range? And you give people different ranges. And then you kind of get closer to what they were willing to spend. And then you can say, all right, well, let's start with this and this. And then we can always pare down, or we can go forward and give you more. And you don't need 15 glass doors. Maybe we do one focal piece and get you 2 glass doors. So I try to make it so it's, I sound like I'm really trying to watch their budget and not just spend their money.
Yeah.
And then it makes it easier later on to get them to do more.
Yep. And I do find I am able to, not all the time, but sometimes get people's budget, especially if they're doing construction. It's like, well, how much do you want to invest in this project? Because I never am driving for the most expensive solution. I'm trying to manage this process effectively. And so if you tell me that you want all of these things, but you're going to spend 20 grand, I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen. So doing the things like Wendy is saying, focusing on one feature spot and then having everything else be less expensive tends to work for me. So Ted said he's surprised to see some of your doors go to the ceiling. Don't you have issues with hinges and warping? Wendy?
I've nenever had that issue. We have a rule of thumb of how many hinges we use based on the size of the door, and that's from our door company.
Yeah, same here. That's I can't make them too big. Sometimes people really push for, they want this huge mirrored door, that's 8.5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. So you try to rein them in on the craziness and the weight of that and explaining that aspect, and then go for smaller as much as possible so that you don't run into, don't cheap out on the hinges, man. Another question with crown, this is from Tom, is all your crown attached to fascia or do you use top shelves? What do you charge per foot for crown?
Well, I can open up my folder and tell them what I charge. Just don't rat me out to my boss.
Yeah, no, God forbid. And I, honest to God, I'm back at the design element that I don't have a figure for that. I don't ask it, which I'm sure to some of you sounds insanely ridiculous. But I don't break things out by the price. And because I have a partner that I really like working with, I'm trusting that when he is giving me pricing, once in a while I'll have something broken out. Like right now, I had him separate out the lighting and this lucite backing that we're thinking about doing, because I'm going to discuss that with the client. But I don't, if anybody else wants to chime in from the audience with, numbers, please, I'll scroll here and see if anybody else has
We
any
don't
input.
use just fascia. We also have the kind that is screwed to the, or nailed to the top shelf. So we have the two types that we use. As far as crown molding, your answer is basic is $20 a linear foot, and the more expensive one is $30, and that is before charging for each angle cut, and that is before any color upgrade or glaze.
And Nancy says they charge $240 for an 8-foot section, so that's about $30. So that kind of seems to be kind of a number in there. In white, or add, this is further from Nancy, we charge $240 per 8-foot section in white, or add for color. So if you only have 6 feet, they still charge for 8, as that's the length of one section. So they're driving that by how they buy the material, right, Nancy? And hello, Nancy, how are you? So I hope that answers that. Yep. That's what Nancy said. Yes, that's correct. Okay. I think I really wish, okay, no, that's taking me back up. Seem to have a scrolling issue. If you got questions, type them in now, because I'm scrolling down to the bottom, and I don't see any other questions. So if there's something you want to contribute or you want to know, ask us now, or else we will, Wendy and I are going to go drink
Get
margaritas, even though we're not in the same space geographically. One must celebrate one's, this is Wendy's first webinar, y'all. So didn't she do a great job? Like, yay, Wendy, thank you. And so, yeah, if nobody else has any questions, on behalf of the ACSP, we're happy to have you take your time, and we hope this was helpful. That's always the intention with an association, is to give you some value and help you feel like your investment and participation in the membership is worthwhile. So that's a really important component. And here's a few. Can you tell me how you installed the lights in the drawers? Those are rope LED lights. I'm not sure how many, I have to scroll back to get to that shot. And we just put them around, this is so funny, I talk with my hands and y'all can't see my hands. We put them around the tops of the drawers. We ordered thermofoil tops with the cutouts so that we knew we could camouflage the rope lighting, and still, be able to have it look really nice. So that's how we did that. And can I view this again later? Yes, I pressed the record button, so this will be recorded. And Shaun, where do you put these once they're recorded? Have you decided that, or do you email people a link, or what?
They get emailed to everybody.
Okay.
As well as we have the new website's coming out any day now, I think. Ooh. As well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, considering it's been quite a while in the making. So they are all going to be stored on there for members to watch.
Excellent. So just in terms of logistics, I'm going to, wait, give me a second. I'll tell you, we'll upload the file and you should get it in a day or so. But in the interest of making sure that the recording sounds logical, we can say any last words that Shaun, is there any message you want to say to the audience before I stop recording?
I don't have any other than good job.
Okay, cool. And Wendy,
Yeah.
great job. So thanks, you guys. You look for an email with the recording, and or know that in the very near future, with the launch of the new ACSP website, will be in the members only area access to this recording so that you can watch it again, and Wendy and I can like put you to sleep in a dreamy way and all that good stuff. So thanks again, much appreciation. Hope you got a lot from it. You know, go out and design some beautiful spaces and then post them on Facebook so we can all see them. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks on behalf of Wendy and Shaun and Denise. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.